It's turn 10 of Leningrad from Decision Games, and I think it's all or nothing really for the Germans now. They need to break through this line and at least get a chance to have a couple of turns attacking the Leningrad hexes. Excuse me. Looking at the situation, I think the best we're going to achieve is to capture here, and that's going to be a push. So that will get me 5 victory points, so I can't afford to have more than 4 negative points and losses. I've got 2 here and then another 3 before that mechanised division that was affected by the last attack. So if I'm going to only get 5, I need to get him replaced, so I'm going to have to pull him back out. The good news this turn, I've moved up a bit closer to get closer to the action, but coming up from the south is a new motorised or mechanised corps. There's only 2 of them, but you still get a corps bonus, so that's going to give us some punch for this last attack. So basically what I'm going to do is reorganise this to get the maximum number, so I can attack up here and force this corner around here as well. And let's come back after I've done that. So that's the end of German movement. The 39th mechanised has charged up to include in this attack. I've withdrawn the 36th Division to Pskov, where it can be replaced next turn. That means I'll lose the core bonus here, but I've still got a core bonus coming from this this one here. I've grouped as many divisions as I can to try and force this guy back to move this along. And well, one of the things I've noticed is I've ended up with far too much infantry up here. I should have switched some divisions down, so I'm bringing these down. These were the ones that disengaged to allow this in. This guy up here, he should be one further. They really won't be able to get down here in time, so that's something to remember for next time for the Germans. So key attacks are going to go in here and here and here. Made you think about whether it's worth trying to force this one back as well, or do I just try and keep that pinned? I'll come back after I've calculated the odds. Right, we've got some crucial attacks. I'm going to attack first with these, in the hope of cutting off any possible retreat. So when these were turned over, actually we've got some good infantry now. We've got 9 defences in the open though, 54 attacking it, which is a 6-to-1. We've got armour and we've got a full corps, so that's turning it 8-to-1. So ideally Germans need 4 or above, they get a 5. So these are eliminated, and these will move in. Now up here it was a 51-to-6, not such strong units moved in here. 8-to-1, the fort makes it 7-to-1, but then we've got 2 Stukas, take it up to a 9-to-1, and the armour, which is a 10-to-1. So we throw a 1, which is 2, which is the worst, the only outcome that leaves somebody there. The Soviets will accept 2 losses and hold out in that fort for another turn. We really needed that. Any other result and we'd have been at least attacking Leningrad next time, but not to be. Down the bottom here we've got 50 to 4, 12 to 1, down to 11 to 1 because of the swamp, but still maximum odds. And that gets a 2, that's eliminated. So he's gone. These will advance up. And I decided not to attack down here. I thought it's more important to get maximum odds and make sure that is finished off. That's the end of the German turn, and I think their chances are diminishing as every turn goes by now. But let's see how the Soviets respond. So it's the Soviet part of the turn 8. For the remainder of the game they keep getting 2 new divisions every turn in Leningrad. Any hex will do, so these guys appear and immediately, actually one will land there, one will land here, because we're going to move the armour up into that hex to give us that bonus. I'm just going to do the movements because there's not a lot to cover off here. So this group, they can't go through there, they'll get stuck. So 2, 4, 5, 6, I'm going to put them in reserve there because there's no way the Germans are going to be able to come around. He's going to disengage, that's 5, just to keep things moving back. These guys are doing a nice job of holding everybody away from this side, and we've got our brave defender up there. In fact, actually no, I can't move anyone else up to them, so they're going to go next turn, but they've their heroism will probably have made the difference. No attacks for the Russians, so swiftly on to turn 11. So it's turn 11 of Leningrad from Decision Games. We're coming into September now. This is the 31st of August to the 6th of September. And it really is crunch time. To get a credible attack on Leningrad and have a chance to capture something, we really need to have all 3 mechanised corps landed up along this line. So we have to try and dislodge these 2 in this turn. We've got the troops lined up to do it, so there's not an awful lot of manoeuvre we can do this turn. But this is one thing to note. This is just my own little way of doing it. In the replacement phase, I'm going to spend a replacement point. I use a little dice to remind me, so I'm using 1 to repair. I think human beings don't get repaired, or some of them do, but get replacements in to that division. So that, as long as that doesn't get attacked or disturbed in any way this turn, then he will be back up to strength, and that might be critical to ship him up for the final battles here. And we just need to shuffle the infantry to get ourselves best possible attacks we can along this way, and maybe try and move this back to give ourselves an extra hex here. I'm going to do that, and then we'll go on to the attacks. As predicted, very little movement. I've moved these down, and these moved up to pin or attack this one. Everyone else was already in place for their attacks. So in we go, and let's just calculate the odds and find out what's under those untried Soviet counters. Right, let's see those German attacks. Up top here, 51 to 2, a 10 to 1 with everything else, and he can't retreat because this has got 3 in, so don't need to roll the dice. He has gone. The mechanized corps moves up. Now for the most critical one, we've got 54-7 in here. They weren't too bad, the divisions. They're in a fort in the woods. That's cancelled out by the Stukas. The armour doesn't count because it's a wood, but there's one corps there. Could really done with that. But it's 8-1 in the end after all that. We need 4, 5 or 6 for the Germans to force the hex. It's a 6. We're going to have an interesting final turn. So, sorry about that. There is actually a part of the map which allows you to they've got bigger hexes for this area, but it doesn't have all of them, so it's not quite useful enough. So that's all destroyed, and actually it's going to be important. It's going to be the 39th that's going to advance in there. The reason I'm doing that is at the end of this turn this will be repaired. If that's going to rejoin it, it needs to be able to move up and do it, because you only get that other core bonus for all there. So that's going to be critical. There's no chance of anybody moving in because they're already in zones of control. So we've now got the attack down here. It's 36 to, turns out to be 6, which is 6-1, but reduced to a 4-1 because of the woods and the fort. So might both be going back on this one. Get a 5. 5 at a 4-1 is, where is it? Yep, 1. So the Soviets are going to just take that. They want to hold these back. There's some fairly weak units in there, so it's not going to affect them very much. There we go. In we go for that. The only other thing to add on the German attack is that I decided not to attack down here. All I would really be offering the Russians is a chance to potentially retreat closer to Leningrad, so I'd rather hold this guy out and slow him down, and that there's a chance of weak odds. These are reduced divisions down here anyway. So that's the end of the German attack, and see how the Soviets reorganise their forces to wait for the final turn assault on Leningrad. So it's a Soviet portion of turn 11. Not a lot for them to do really. We get 2 more divisions to put in Leningrad. I'm going to move 2 up here, so keep these in reserve back there. This guy will keep retreating back, but it keeps things tight there. He's going to hold out to keep these back, and that's it. Not much more we can do. Just wait for the final German assault next turn. One thing just at the end of the turn, as this has gone a whole turn, that is now back up to strength again, and we've used up our replacement point. So end of turn 11, come on to the final part of turn 12. It's turn 12, the final turn of Leningrad from the Decision Games, and the Germans are knocking on the door. They need to get 1 hex and not take any losses this turn to force the narrowest of tactical victories. And let's position ourselves to see if we can do that. So we've got the rejuvenated 36th Division, mechanized division coming up. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The rest of the 41st Mechanized Corps is here. Withdraws, that's an extra 2, 4, and they're all back together again. And we can, moving him would be very useful this turn, so we're going to throw in 2 additional divisions here. I'm not going to move these any further because these are going to be outer support there, because it'd be 2, 4, 5, but this road doesn't lead to East Prussia, so they're going to stay as they are. There's probably not much point in anything else. So the key attack is here. We've got 29, 29, and I think this is 25. So 75 plus 8, 83. And what have we got underneath here? Oh, a 5. That's a good start. 10. 15. Would you believe it? They've really saved their best to last. So, what was I saying? 75 plus 8, 83 to 15. We'll definitely throw in the Stukas as well. This is the key attack. Just pause there for a moment to make sure I get this right. So we've got 83 to 15, which is a 5 to 1. We've got 2 air units to make it a 7 to 1, and we've got 3 core bonuses to make it a 10 to 1. The armour doesn't count. Against that though, we've got armour, which makes it 9 to 1, the fort, 8 to 1, the city, 7 to 1, and it's a Soviet city, which is an extra 6 to 1. 6 to 1 attack. On a 6 to 1, we need a 6 for the Germans to eliminate. To any other losses the Soviets can absorb, and it's going to be all over. So let's see how this one pans out. Would you believe it? It's a 6. I think I better show that for posterity. Can you see there? We have smashed our way in, but will we stay? So all these are eliminated. So one of the key questions for the Germans now is who to advance in. The 39th is actually the weaker of the corps, but it does have a standard infantry unit underneath it, so I had to take a loss. I could take it from the infantry and only lose 1 point. That means I could absorb that and still win. So I think it's got to be those. So in they go. The final attack we're going to do is these here. We've got 8, 6 strength for 48, plus 7, 55. Against 5, which is 11 to 1, back down to a 9 to 1 because of the fort. And the woods, that's a 3, they're eliminated. So we'll advance these guys in. Doesn't really make much difference, but it would have been handy actually if we could have advanced someone into there to give him line of retreat, but we haven't got that. So they're gone. That's the end of the German phase, and it's all going to come down to the Soviet counterattack. Let's see what we can put together for that. The Soviet part of the final turn. And you really feel a bit like a gambler as the Russians here. You don't know how strong any of your units are, and you've got to decide which ones you're going to put in. Well, I get 2 extra to appear in Leningrad, and we've also got this unit moving up as well. Mechanized often are stronger, so I think I'm going to move one of these new guys up here. This guy will disengage to give me some room, and we'll throw him into there, and they're all going to then attack the 39th Mechanized Corps. So let's do a bit of a reveal. What do we have up the top here? We've got 4, 9, 13. That's a pretty good attack. And again, and then can you see? Yeah, 13 plus 4, 17, plus 4, 21, 24. 24. Not. What does that work? Because this is 25, I believe. 7, 8, 15, 25. So it's a 1 to 2. The Germans don't get any armor bonus or any core bonus in the inner city. So, but they it is inner city, so they do get a 1 shift to a 1 to 3. Let me just check if I got that right. Hang on a second. Yes, that's right. It's their armor and their core bonuses as for the German get negated, but you still are in a city, so that's a 1 shift. So your 1 to 2 becomes a 1 to 3. The best they can do is a 6, which basically inflicts 1 hit on the Germans, but they can still stay there. Everything else is going to eliminate or severely affect the Russians, although the Germans can't take advantage of it now. We get a 6. The Germans have to lose 1, which they will do by taking the hit on this infantry corps, and the Soviets have to lose 2. So, well, slightly irrelevant. Take those 2 off, and that is it. The game is ended, and it's a tactical German victory. They get 5 points for this X. They lose 1 for this, 1 for this, 1 for this, and 1 for this. So they lose 4 and get 1 point. Let me just double check all the rest of them. Making a mess now, but we can make sure I didn't miss anything. I definitely didn't miss anything in these cores. No. 1 point. A tactical German victory. Well, I couldn't get any closer than that. I thought they lost it there at the end, Germans. Halfway through it seemed to be all going their way, but the Russians seemed to have managed to get the reinforcements in, and to be fair, that was a pretty lucky roll, although they probably should have been attacking 1 turn sooner. The Russians had their luck on that one as well. How did I think it played? Well, I really enjoyed it. I love this game. It's just always seems to come down to the wire down here. I've had complete victories for the Germans and complete massacres as well. I think when I look back on the strategy I used, I definitely used too much infantry coming up along here. I wasted units there that could have been better used down the south. Historically, actually, there was no armour up here. The 4th Panzer Group came through Pskov, and it was the infantry that led through that way. I'm not sure you'd get through these hexes without some armour, because you're usually only attacking from 2, so that seemed to work out. But I definitely didn't get down as far as here. For the Soviets, I think in retrospect, they probably lost it in the first few turns, where they lost a lot of strong units being surrounded in that counterattack. I made a couple of mistakes in that first turn, which I don't think made a difference, but I definitely didn't feel like I'd played the Russians as well at that point. But a good game, one that I thoroughly enjoyed, and be interested in any suggestions of how to play better. I'll certainly be playing this again sometime soon. Thank you for watching.